Okay, hello, lovelies. I'm back. This is Kimberly Purpose. I am here on live stream. I believe I turned it on. This is my first time on here during the daytime. Um, I'm usually on here at nighttime, so I thought I'd try it during the day. I know that some people are probably just getting off from work, but hey, I just thought I'd go ahead and give it a start. It's I'm gonna wait a little while, a few more minutes to see if anybody comes on. I'm going to be talking about some of the things that were discussed earlier this week in some of my videos. And so we'll wait for a few minutes. And yeah, let me go ahead and well, I could start off with though with y'all. I'm sorry, I'm putting this thing up here. Is I want to talk about the blue moon because this week I talked about the blue moon, and it was I'm on the East Coast, so I didn't get a chance to see it. I know most of the people who saw it were on the West Coast. It was like I think it was California, um, what is it, Hawaii, Washington. Those are the ones that got a chance to see the full moon. But what the blue moon, I'm sorry. The blue moon. But for those of y'all who don't know what the blue moon means, it means the ending of a cycle. And I talked about that in my video. And I just think that is so amazing, that it's every 150 years. I think the last time they had a blue moon was back in 1868, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was 1868. And that was the last time they had it. And they just had it for this year. But I want to let you all know that I mentioned in another video about it, but I just sort of touched on it. But I sort of want to elaborate on that because I found it interesting about this blue moon cycle, in and of a cycle. In 1865 was the ending of the slavery. And when you think about it, it was the end of the slavery. And some slaves didn't even know that slavery had ended, and some of the masters kept them working anyway. And so they had them working for to almost 3 years after slavery, because back then they didn't have technology to contact people or any of that. So a lot of people didn't know that they were already free. And the blue moon took place in 1868. So that was when the slaves were released, abolished, around the same time period. And so now it's happening again. And I just think it's sort of amazing how our history has been stripped from us as Indigenous people. And we didn't get a chance to know who we are as a group of people. It was sort of stripped from us. And I find it amazing how with the internet, we're able to finally, with new technology, with information that was hidden from us, we could not actually see, actually do. We couldn't actually get to access to this research. You always had to go to a library or university, and sometimes these things wasn't printed here in the United States. They were, like the artwork and the statues, they were in Europe, so it wasn't available to us. So this knowledge we're just now seeing because the internet is coming to us full force. And I just find it amazing. We're starting to open our eyes to the truth of who we really are. And I believe that this is another example of a cycle that we're going through. I don't know if you all see it. I still haven't figured out how to get people to put up chats, you know, but y'all can put y'all comments below and I'll, read through them. But anyway, I just wanted to touch on that. I don't know if y'all notice that correlation between the blue moon, the end of a cycle, and the thought and the idea that we as American Aborigines are actually, for the first time, seeing and understanding our history and having an idea of where we come from. That's what I find so amazing. So amazing. So I just wanted to touch on that, elaborate on that. And I wanted to tell you all that ever since I've been touching more of my indigenous roots, I've been, reevaluating spirituality and everything. I've been wanting to learn more about Hebrew since it's connected to the Cherokee Indians. And I wanted to tell you there's some really good videos on, for those of y'all who are interested in learning more about Hebrew, there's some videos on YouTube that teaches you the Hebrew language from scratch. So I said, whoa, I'm just so excited. I get a chance to learn more and more about the Hebrew language and everything. But yeah, I was touching on just that's one of the things I wanted to touch on. And I'm gonna try to stay on here longer because I know I had some viewers telling me that I need to stay on here longer than I have been. And I looked at first, I guess I'm a little shy, and a little nervous and trying to get used to how to maneuver this thing and see how it works. So this is the first time me being on here. This is not the first time, but me getting used to it. I sort of hurried up and get on and hurried up and get off because I wasn't sure what to do. But now I'm starting to feel a lot comfortable, more at ease and everything. So I'm getting the hang of it, finally. But I was looking at this other part. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that I know it's a little controversial video, but some people, you know, I just wanted to talk about the definition of Black. I mentioned that in another video about Black, how it has a negative connotation and how it's not a good idea to be calling yourself Black. And I was looking at another YouTuber, she was talking about how it has a legal ramification to it as well. You know, it I was listening to Chief Colinago. He had a point. He said that when you claim yourself as African American and as Black, it's like when you do that, you are making yourself nationalist. And I never thought about that. I said that's true because we can't pinpoint anywhere in Africa where we're from, technically. And then here, we do have somewhat of a clue from our ancestors. I know of quite a few people who said that their grandparents told them that they were Indian or something, and even tell you which tribe. And that's what my grandmother did, which I'm so thankful, that she actually told us what tribe we're from. And it's like when you call yourself African, you actually telling others, making it look like that you actually have you are actually connected to that continent and then when you think about it, when you're African American, you're not even tied to a country, you're tied to a continent. Because I noticed that most people who come over here from Africa, they tie themselves to a actual country. And they like Kenyan. I'm Kenyan American. I'm from Kenya, or I'm from Ghana. I'm a Ghanaian American, or something like that. Or they might even say that I'm from Sierra Leone, or no, or I'm Ethiopian. I'm an Ethiopian American. We can't do that. As if we're descendants of slaves from this country, we cannot pinpoint exactly which country we're from. I know some people say, oh, you got the DNA test. I did a video on that too about the DNA test. It's owned by Caucasians, literally. And so we can't trust that either because it's been proven that it doesn't pinpoint. It's not 100% accurate. In other words, it's like astrology just shooting in the wind, and with 1% accuracy at the most. It don't really have pinpoint accuracy on that. So you can't even say that even if it says what part of Africa, it's not accurate. It's not. So that's why I was saying you can't pinpoint yourself to an actual a country. But one country you can pinpoint yourself is here in the Americas. And then if you and your grandma, and then it's, another thing is they say if you, any of your grandparents or aunts that are older, they're maybe considered elderly, you need to look at their birth certificate and see if it has colored on there. That's what Dan Calloway said. If it has color on there, a Negro, that means you're definitely indigenous here. But I say, me personally, I believe that if you're a descendant of a slave, you are indigenous here. You know, you really are. You're indigenous here. That's why I feel. I feel like you indigenous here because people who after reading, hearing the stories and reading about it and learning more about it, and just open up my eyes to a lot of things. I don't know if you all seen the picture of the emblem of America. Y'all ought to check that out. If you Google search emblem of America, you'll see these pictures um, of the indigenous people. One of them that stood out, I did a video on that one too because I was really upset about it. Because as you read about the history and then you actually look at the artwork and see what it's saying, you just get floored and upset about it because it shows exactly what took place. What took place to us is actually shown in the artwork. It shows a picture of, it looked like a little girl because she had on a pink skirt. It looked like a grass skirt with an afro with the feathers in the head shooting upright. And then they have this tall statue that's really tall standing up over a white, well, I'm not going to say white, gray Caucasian, gray Caucasoid standing right there. There's a woman, it's like she's standing over the little child that's with the afro, with the feathers. That's the Indian. And then in the background, you'll see some more figures. It looks like shadows of the Indians in the background trying to get to their child. And so what it's showing you, essentially what happened was they kidnapped the children. And it's even in the dictionary. They said that kidnap. If you go back and look at the dictionary, I think it's 1828 Webster's Dictionary. If you go back and look at that, and it says that kidnapping means the kidnapping, or it stems from the kidnapping of the natives or the kids and putting them into slavery or into indentured servitude. But they didn't intend to have it temporary like everybody else, like the other gray Caucasoids that were brought over here. Their whole point of kidnapping those children, the women and children from the indigenous tribe, was to keep them in slavery, perpetual servitude, in other words, where they don't ever have a chance of ever being free. The whole point of having that was to keep them enslaved and never have any chance of being free. And also any child that was born to them, any offspring, was also destined to only be a slave, to always be in servitude. And that's terrible. And the drawing shows you exactly what took place. And that's why I was really upset. So that's why I'm saying we all need to go back and look at some of these artifacts and analyze them, because you see things from a different perspective when you know who you are. Because when you don't know, you just say, oh, that's an African person in a skirt. But when you start in a grass skirt or something, you think they brought them from Africa. But then when you research and find out what just took place, it's much deeper than that. You realize, hey, these folks actually, and then all the literature you look at, the laws that were passed, the pictures, the artwork, the statues, everything points to the story, tells you the story. All the facts is there. And then you see that, you realize, hey, oh my gosh, they were kidnapping the women and children and throwing them in slavery, and they were killing off all the men. That's all they were doing. And then all they were doing was recirculating the same slaves from the Caribbean. They try to say, oh, it was brought from Africa. But when you think about Africa, it's so far away, 3 to 4 months away. And in the 15, 16, 1700s, they didn't have all that technology back then to bring over millions of people. Why do that when you got people over here that are Aborigines that's all they did? It just makes more sense to me. This slave boat idea just doesn't make any sense and doesn't resonate with me at all. But that was one of the main things I wanted to talk about, was that, and that's why I don't call myself Black. Black is a label that they have brought and bestowed upon us. It's not really something that we created. I did a video on that. If y'all go back and check out, it's called the Human Labeling System. It shows you how they created these labels purely based on slavery. And the whole point of it was to keep people in perpetual servitude. That's the only reason. And because it's that color, they weren't using that color back then. That's why I say it's very important that we learn what these words mean. Go back and look in the etymology dictionary. That's why I learned from Chi Colinago. I've been watching his videos, and then where I get the idea from. Try to give people credit, where it's due, because you learn from each other. And that's how you become a much better researcher and historian, and gathering more information, and also finding out more information and truth about yourself as an Aborigine. The other thing I want to talk about was the psychology of it. I did another video. That was my last video I did, actually. And that is the psychology of how they control the Aborigines. I want to go read the article. I had the article in that video and on the last video I just did, and there's also a link to the article, and that it's not really an article, it's actually an excerpt. I believe it's an excerpt from a book, and y'all might want to check it out. It's really good, and I think it's a great tool for if you're a teacher and you want to teach this topic. You can go and download the actual copy of it, and it's a chapter from the book, and you can use it as a presentation to present with others. And they also have the questions on the end. But anyhow, but in this, it talks about, I was talking about how they use mind control to have control over the slaves. It was also, and it's still used today. It's just a different form. If you read it, you go, a lot of this stuff still seems familiar. It's a lot of it's still happening. Like the first part was they talked about the whippings in slavery, how they whipped the slaves with whips and everything, and they literally tortured them and physically abused them. And I thought about it. It's sort of similar today, because when you look on the news and see what's going on, you see gray caucasoids going into Black neighborhoods, Aborigine neighborhoods, dragging people out, beating them up, police brutality, and then pulling guns on them and shooting people down for stupid stuff. You get pulled over, you got to worry about them injuring you. You could do everything right, and they still want to beat you up and kill you. And it's all, and then they know the story is going to be all over the news, and then other Aborigines see this stuff on the news, and it sort of puts the fear in you. And that's the whole point of this, is to have fear, that control, by putting fear on you. It's like, no matter what you do, we're going to harass you just because of the color of your skin, and that's how they do it. They install fear just by constantly showing ways of treating you as a second-class citizen. And then the other one was the slave codes. I'm sorry, it's a little chilly in here. I'm cold. It's cold down here in Atlanta, where I'm at. But the slave codes was the laws that they passed. They passed all these crazy laws against the Aborigines. They had the slave codes, these stupid slaves. Yeah, when I did the video, there's one law they have. I just said, this is crazy. You cannot talk back to your master. So great, all these crazy rules that they have, and it's ridiculous. And I want, and these laws are some of the same silly laws that they have today. Because I was watching a YouTube video about how they was trying to pass some stupid law about jaywalking. Because I think it's in New York, if I'm not mistaken. Not sure what city, but I think it was in New York. It's like they want to because they're not getting enough people to lock up because people are not doing as much illegal stuff, I guess, as they were. So they want to create something. So and they came up with the idea of bringing jaywalking in, and so I think it was a news reporter or someone decided to see who gets harassed and who gets locked up with these crazy jaywalking laws or something. And what was happening was they were locking up more Aborigines than they were white folks. It was like a white I think they recorded one incident. It was like a gray Caucasoid crossing the street, and she was crossing the street. She was jaywalking, and so the cop didn't say anything to her at all. This was a gray Caucasoid cop. And so he just ignored her, and it was recorded and documented. He ignored that gray woman walking across the street. Now, an Aborigine teenager did the same exact thing, like maybe a few minutes after she crossed the street. He went over there to that boy and harassed the heck out of him. Talking about, oh, you walked across the street the wrong way. You're not supposed to do that. And just constantly harassing the kid, asking for identification. He was walking across the street, looked like he was riding a bicycle or something and had a book bag and getting out of school. So that's a stupid law. I'm going to, and it's a law where it's easy to, you could obviously see the racism. He'll let the gray woman, the gray Caucasoid, cross the street and not harass her, but he'll go and harass the teenage kid and said that he's a threat to society. But it's obviously he's a kid. How is he a threat? He's just getting out of school, riding his bicycle with his backpack. Really? But anyway, that's what I'm talking about. These crazy laws they try to pass so they can harass the heck out of you over stupid stuff. Now that's a prime example. And it showed the racism. We're going, if you're going to harass the little boy, why don't you harass the gray Caucasoid woman? If you're going to pass a law like that, you need to harass her too. But if you're not going to harass her, then you don't need to harass the little kid getting out of school. That's crazy. But that's how they do it. And and they want to have a record on our little kids so they can mess up their future with having a some sort of record against them. And then there's another example I could give y'all about the teenagers. That's why they want to pass these laws about marijuana, making it illegal, so they can keep on locking up our Aborigine children, and kids, young folks. And they know that Aborigines tend to use marijuana more so than other drugs. But gray Caucasoids, right now, they got a drug plague going on right now. They got the opioids, the fentanyl, heroin, the meth, and everything. They want to keep this narrative going, and they want to lock up our children, but then don't want to lock up theirs. And I'm going, your children are on heavier drugs, and that's why they want to pass the law. They want to say that the gray Caucasoids, theirs is a health issue. We can't lock them up because it's a health issue. But if a black kid have marijuana at a party, they'll be able to lock them up. And right here in Georgia, there's a case. I think I saw the video from Lisa Cabrera's channel. Y'all might want to check it out. She had a video about how they locked up 63 kids from a party. It was at a birthday party. I can't remember. It was a small town in Georgia. I can't remember the name of the city. I don't want to give y'all the wrong city, but they locked up 63 kids because it was the police found 1 gram of marijuana. That's it. 1 gram. And none of the kids would tell the cops who marijuana it was. So they locked up all the kids that was at the party. They did 63 charges on all these kids. And now they have to try to fight to get this record off their get that criminal record off their name for drug possession. When how can you lock up 63 people for I don't think it's even grams. I think it's like 1 ounce or something like that, one gram or something. Don't take my word for it, but it was this very small amount. It was not maybe one little weed, just one for one person or something, but it's not enough to do, for every person in the household to smoke. But they locked up everybody. But meanwhile, up the street, there were meth heads, gray Caucasoids, passed out on meth, a more dangerous drug, but they won't lock them up. They go, oh, it's all right for them. They got a health problem. But yeah, kids in some states, marijuana is legal. That's what trips me out. It's a legal drug. If it's legal in some states, why on earth are you going to lock up kids and then want to have the charges so extreme, want to lock them up for 20 years just because of them smoking marijuana? Or it might not even be them that smoke. It might have been a friend and they might be at the wrong place at the wrong time. That's why I was telling my son, you can't be at all places, because that's why I'm a little protective of my teenage son. He go, Mom, why can't I? I said, look, I'm just looking out for you because, I know what they're trying to do. They trying to mess over our kids. And like those kids, now those 63 kids, college students, got to try to get charges that's put on them just for being at a party. Because everybody know that not all 63 kids were smoking weed, not for a little gram, a little ounce, better less than an ounce of marijuana. And it's just that they didn't want to tell or snitch on the person that actually did it. But it's crazy. They were on cold that day, I guess. They were on cold. And so it's just a disparity. It's crazy. It really is. It's really crazy. And that's what I just wanted to tell y'all about. And I was telling the other day, I was talking to my son about, because he wanted to hang out with some of his friends, and I had to stay home. I told him I didn't know who you hanging out with, and that's why as parents we gotta see what's going on with your kids. I know I do. I gotta know who you hanging out with and know who their parents are, because you just don't know what's going on. It's like they would lock your kid over being at the wrong place at the wrong time. You might not have done it, but if you there, they'd be quick to lock you up. Because I told my son, because he was getting upset because I wouldn't let him hang out with some of his friends, and I told him, we was driving. I think we're coming from a restaurant up the street. And then sure enough, it was like 3 teenage boys, police. They would look like they coming from basketball or something. It was dark. Might have been 8 o'clock. They were standing near the park. Sure enough, it was some cops standing there with the light beaming on them, and then having them with their hands up, standing there questioning them. I said, "This really? Is it really that necessary to have 4 cops really for some young kids playing basketball?" And my son was saying, "Dang, they just having them standing there. Is that really necessary?" I said, "It's not necessary. Really, you got to have 4 police cars standing around, 2 or 3 little boys. They look like they were in middle school. They didn't look that old." And that's what I was talking about. That's why I tell my son, that's why I don't let you hang out like that. That's what they do. They try to find something to harass you and treat you like second-class citizen. And when our kids are the least likely ones that have these illegal drugs. The ones that are doing it are their children, the great Caucasoids. And then why are you harassing our kids? I'm going that great Caucasoid over there smoking meth and doing fentanyl and shooting up heroin. You need to go over there and do your job and get them kids, okay? Why aren't you putting them behind the bars? Okay, they're not going to do that because they want to keep the slave narrative going. That's what it's all about. I'm sorry. That just pisses me off, y'all. It really does. But that's how they do it. And then I was talking about the last part, with the laws. That's the laws that I was talking about, how they pass these crazy laws. And then the other part was the religion. They use these religion and how they try to use the Bible. That's why they rewrote the Bible. The whole point in King James Version, rewritten and everything to fit their narrative. And that's why I said that we need to really rethink Christianity, and the Bible. Because I had a viewer, like I told, it was one viewer that was telling me that I need to look at the Bible, the King James Bible, and follow what it says, because you're black and you need to accept the fact that all the stuff you're telling me was created by gray caucasoids, you know, and why would I believe a group of people, who put this on me, on my people? Who enslaved us. I'm inclined to listen more to what my grandma said than to listen to some great Caucasian who want to keep this narrative going about slavery. Really. And so that's why I was saying, this total in, the Christianity, that's what they did. And in the other video, I was talking about how they and they said, God tells you to obey your master. And then they put emphasis, your white master. That's why I said it, and I was looking at that. I said, master white. They put emphasis on white master. That's why I said that's why they call themselves white. And then I noticed that when I looked up white in some of the etymology dictionary, they didn't go into much detail about the origins of white, which I thought was weird because a while I looked at some places in dictionaries, it says God like and pure, but they don't show it that much. You have to sometimes go further back because I saw it in I think it was 1812 dictionary. It says something about being pure and perfect and all this other stuff. And still they still want you to put them on a pedestal. And that's how they do it. That's why I say don't call Caucasian white. Because that's what you're blessing them. Every time you say white, you're saying pure, godlike, perfect person. That's all you're saying, perfect person. These labels are actually affirmations. It's a way of you sort of praying to them and you're giving them positive flow of energy. That's why I said it's not a good idea to keep on calling them. I call them anything else but white because you're glorifying them. And that's why it seems like they always getting off on everything. All these positive. It's like no wonder they don't go to jail. No wonder they get punished. If everybody's calling them white, you calling them pure person, pure, honest, great person. And you are giving them more power, I believe. To me, it looks like that to me. I don't know if anybody else feels the same way, but it seems like that's what's happening. And you're cursing yourself by calling yourself black, but then you speak to them, say white, you're glorifying them. So, and that's why, excuse me, I'm sorry, they did that. And that's why they had the labeling system put in place to have affirmations put in place to keep the slave narrative going. And they did it through the church too. Because I was looking at some of the stuff they said. They say your master is like God. You're supposed to worship and cherish him like God. I want to crack up and laugh. And I said, really? You're not a God. You're just a human being. Why would I pray to you? I'm going to pray to Yahweh. I'm going to pray to the Most High. That's who we're supposed to pray to, not another human being. But anyway, I want to also talk about, I can go on and on, but there was one more thing I wanted to talk about was that there was another YouTuber, a viewer that I don't think she's a YouTuber. I'm not sure if she's a YouTuber or not. But I think her name is Red or something. I can't remember her name, but she put a comment below about how her student or something, her child, I think it was her child, when she sent her child to school, they were trying to make her child watch Roots. And she said she was very upset about it. And I thought about that too. I said, I would be upset too. if they want to have my child watch Roots, you know. And I was thinking about telling the viewer that, you know, you might want to check with the school to see, you know, try to see if you can have them excused out of there when they do that, because that's a form of indoctrination. That's how they do it. They have us watch these crazy movies. They use the media to indoctrinate your child, have them brainwashed and thinking that they're from Africa. And that's how they do it. I know when I was a kid, I remember when I was in middle school. I remember. Um, they forced us to watch Gone with the Wind. And to me, Gone with the Wind glorified slavery to me. They go, oh, that's part of history. You got to you got to learn your history. I want, is it really necessary? Do I have to watch this? So they made us watch um Gone with the Wind, and then they get um the slave, you know, showing the slave saying, yes, yes, master, yes, master. You know, nobody want to hear that. You know, making it look like that's all we are here for, is to be a slave. They don't have, never mention anything about our indigenous heritage, never talk about anything that our ancestors did that was positive. And it's like they don't even go over our history. The only thing they tell us, we're a slave. And then they shows media books like Gone with the Wind. And back then they made us watch Gone with the Wind. And I remember that. And I remember the slave. And I think she, if I'm not mistaken, the slave that played in the movie, she was the one that received an award, Academy Award or something. I think it was Academy. Y'all could correct me on that. I'm not sure if it's the Academy or not, but I think it is. And she was the only person that got an award for a movie role until Halle Berry got one for Monsters Ball. You know, only female actress. And so that's a long time. That movie was out back in when? The 20s, 30s, might have been the 40s. I can't remember what year. I don't even know what year. But I know that was a required movie that we had to watch. And I just cringed every time I watched it. I knew when I was a kid, I didn't like it. And I saw the great Caucasoid students looking at it in my class. They just seemed like, you know, and it just emboldens them, making them think that they're so much better than we are, and that we are nothing but a slave. And it messes with our kids' self-esteem and confidence seeing that crap. And it's a form of abuse. Our ancestors were not just they weren't slaves. They were prisoners of war. They were fighting you all. That's what they failed to realize. That our ancestors fighting their behinds for 250 years, keeping them out of here. Because how come they didn't call it America in 1500s when they first got here? The reason why they couldn't is because they were fighting their behinds off of this land. That's why. They didn't, because I was looking at the dates, they didn't claim some of these lands until the 1700s. You know, 1750, 1800s. So that means our ancestors were fighting them off. They didn't conquer them because they were in wars. And then there is so many wars. I went back looking at it. It's so many wars. I was like, I used to think when I was a kid, why didn't nobody fight for us? You know, if we were only slaves. That's why I was wondering why then African people come over here and get us. The people that were fighting the whole time were the Indians, and we are the Indians. Okay, we are the Indians. And so that's what I was saying. That's how, you know, we are the Indians. And those are the ones who are fighting us. But these movies is what brainwashes our kids. This film, like Gone with the Wind. I had an issue with that movie. And I think some parents, some of the Aborigine parents complained about it over the years. So they stopped making kids watch that. I think they stopped making them watching in the 90s, you know, because I was an 80s kid. So we were forced to watch it. But I think in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000, they stopped making us watch that stupid film. And then now, Roots. Okay. Wow. I know I watched Roots too. No, I think I might have watched that when I was in daycare center or something. They made us watch that. And so, like I said, I saw that stupid movie by Alice Haley, and then finding out that he's a fraud makes it, like, wow. And then he's a fraud. It's been proven that he plagiarized the whole book. He didn't even create that book. And it was a Caucasoid man that created that book, and he plagiarized from him, and they had to pay him off. I think, I'm not sure if Alex Haley had to pay him off, or was it a publisher? It might have been both. But anyhow, that has already been proven and it's documented that it's a fraud. It's a fiction. It wasn't even proven. It wasn't a book that was based on truth, facts, history. So this whole narrative about the slave ships, it's crazy. It's ridiculous. And that's why I said it needs to come to an end. And so I agree with the viewer about how, it's wrong that the school's trying to force our kids to watch Roots when it's not even a factual story. And what I have a problem is the History Channel. Why on earth is the History Channel doing Roots? What I want to know is why are they pushing Roots? History Channel is supposed to be based on facts, I thought. It's supposed to be documentaries. It's supposed to be research, things that has been proven. But if you're going to use Roots, you're using fiction. That's not real. It's not truthful. And I don't think that Roots should be forced upon our kids. And if I was this viewer, I would what I would do is I tell them, I will write the principal. I'll tell the principal I'll go up there, or I'll write a letter to the principal say I don't want my child watching this film. Point blank. It's discriminatory, and I don't want my child watching it. I know I didn't let my kids watch Roots because I felt like it devastated me, because that's all I knew, that all we were slaves. And imagine that's all you hear about is you're a slave, you're a slave. That's all your family was, a slave. That gets old after a while. You don't want to hear that all the time. And I didn't want my kids hearing that narrative. And then especially now that it's been proven that Roots is not even a true story. It's not even an accurate depiction of what actually took place. It's not even based on facts or scientific evidence. And that's why I have a problem with the History Channel. You're supposed to be a channel about facts and science and history. Sounds like y'all are more about opinions and white and gray washing and gray supremacy. That's what it sounded like to me, But I try to stay on here for a whole hour, you guys. I have. And I really enjoyed talking. I can go on and on about these topics. And I'm going to read y'all comments because I still have not figured out how to pull comments on here. I'm going to have to read up some more. I still didn't see anything on it. I might check and see if I could talk to a couple of YouTubers that I know and see if they could give me some feedback on how to put comments up here. But I'm so glad that y'all came and joined me today. I really did. I really did. But I'm gonna be putting up some more videos. Still brainstorming. That's some more stuff I wanted to talk about. Oh, and I want to tell you all that I'm doing my research. I'm about to do my dissertation, and I'm going to do my dissertation about the American. It's going to be called African American. I have to do it that way, unfortunately, because some people still think that we, classify us as African American. But I was going to call it, African American identity. That's what I'm studying for my research. And I'm still brainstorming about the title, but it's going to be a comparison about between the generational gaps and how they perceive identity. But that's what my research is going to be about. And so I'm looking forward to it. I am. And right now I'm in middle of comps. I got to pass this thing, y'all. That's what I'm working on right now, trying to pass this comps exam. Yeah, in order to move forward. But I just wanted to come on here. I told you all I was going to come on here again, and didn't do it during the week, and I felt really bad. So I wanted to make sure I get on here and do the live stream. Yeah, I promised I was gonna get on here. This time I decided to do it during the day. I think the daytime might be a little bit better. It seemed like at nighttime, or it could be that I just wasn't. One viewer told me I wasn't on there long enough because I was only on there for like 15 minutes. So yeah, but that's what I really wanted to talk about. I just wanted to do a recap of what all the stuff I talked about over the week and everything. And I want to tell, oh, that was something else. For those of y'all, I want to mention one more thing. I almost forgot. I want to tell y'all that I did find some praying cards for those who likes to pray and use meditation cards. I found some black ones, some Aborigine ones. I'm sorry, Aborigine cards. Finally, with some Aborigine people on it. I think it's by this Australian lady, Mel Brown. I think that's her name or something like that. I was a little disappointed though, because I think she's a great Caucasoid. I don't think she's a true Aborigine. She might be biracial, so I don't take my word for it. I'm not sure if she's, but she looks like she's a white woman to me, a great Caucasoid. But she's basing it on Aborigine culture in Australia, and I think her name is Mel Brown or something like that. And she's done some cards with Aborigine people, and they actually people of color. And yay! I was happy to see that, but then I was sort of a little bit baffled because I saw her picture. She looks like a great Caucasoid to me. She's a Caucasian, and if she is, that means she's taking people's culture and prophetizing off of the tribes, and that sort of bothered me. And I would like to see indigenous people using their own creativity and their own spirituality for themselves. That's what I would like to see, because I think Caucasoids sometimes overstep their boundaries on things, especially when it deals with our culture and other people's culture, of indigenous cultures. Let the people speak for themselves. Okay, it's their culture. Let them speak for themselves. It's not something that you should just come in there and just take. And I'm not sure she mixed, but she didn't look mixed to me. She like a white woman to me, a great Caucasoid, and that would bother me. So it seems to me she went into the tribes in Australia, learned their culture, learned about their spirituality, and then she created her own spiritual cards, meditation cards based on their culture. And then she's talking about she's part of the tribe, but she looks like a great Caucasoid. She didn't look Aborigine to me. But I think I'm gonna do another video on it. I am. I'm gonna touch on it, and I'm gonna show you the cards in the next video. I think her name is Mel Brown or Mel Brooks. But if she is biracial, please, I apologize. But she's like a great woman to me. She did not look like a true Aborigine to me at all. But I'm gonna do another video on that. That's another topic that I wanted to share with you. I wanted to show y'all those cards. But I'm happy there's some cards with Aborigines on it, people of color. But I was a little disappointed that the person who created it looked like they're European. They don't look like the indigenous people. And that really bothers me. It's like they taking their culture and prophetizing and making money off of it. And that makes me wonder, is she giving any money, profits or proceeds back to the people? That's what I would like to know, because I'm pretty sure they could use that money and the resources. But anyway, that's going to be it for you guys. I still haven't figured out how to do this chat, but I wanted to get on here on live stream and just touch bases with you all. And I love to talk and chit chat, but please thumbs up this video. Don't forget to subscribe. I also have a what do you call it? I'm on Black Junction TV as well. If you haven't subscribed there, you can subscribe there. I have a Facebook page. Please like it, and I'll put the link in the description. I also have a group, a community that I just started. It's really small right now. But I'm trying to get it to grow. So y'all want to join, y'all are all welcome. Just let me know. Y'all can hit me up and let me know if y'all want to join. Um, I also have a Patreon, GoFundMe, and also a what is it called? Patreon, GoFundMe, and PayPal. Sorry. So, and that's some more projects that I'm working on. You know, I haven't quite gotten it into fruition. But I keep y'all posted on it. I'm not quite ready yet. It's in the planning stages, but I'll keep you all posted. I'll let you know what all I'm doing. There's some things I want to see happening and everything. But yeah, just leave your comments below. I look forward to talking to you guys, and thank you for coming to my live stream. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye. Peace and be blessed. Bye bye.